Hi students, welcome to online class. In this video we are going to discuss about the chapter 10 flow of control. So now we are going to see the example program. From this program you can understand the variations of the for loop. So here in this program I have declared the variable int I, then sum is equal to 0, then another variable called n. So here I am going to find out sum of 1 to n numbers. I am going to find the sum of n numbers. So the n numbers is going to be given by myself, that is the user. The user is going to give the n numbers. For example, if the user gives 5, the n value as 5, I am going to find the sum of 1 to 5. If the user is going to give 10, I am going to find out sum of 1 to 10 numbers. Can you understand, students? I am going to find out the sum of n numbers. So based on the user value, if the user give 5, I am going to find sum of 5 numbers. If the user is giving 10, I am going to find out sum of 10 numbers. So like that, if the user give 100, 1000 means I am going to find out the sum of 100 and 1000 numbers. Right. Now I have declared three variables int I, sum equal to 0, comma n. N stands for the number of values I am going to find out the sum. Sum stands for I am going to find out the sum of n numbers and I am going to store the total sum. Total values, that is sum of all the numbers in one variable. For that I need one variable. Three variables are declared by I stands for control variable. I stands for control variable, that is for loop variable. Then sum stands for storing the result, storing the sum of n numbers. And n stands for how many numbers I am going to find out the sum. Right? So first of all, I am getting the input from the user. I am going to get the input from the user. Cout, enter the value of n. Cout, enter the value of n. C in n. Cout, enter the value of n. C in n. Then after that, I am going to use the control variable. That is, I am going to initialize the control variable outside the for loop. See here, actually the initialization will be done inside the for loop. For initialization and then test expression, that is condition, then only we will give update. But in this program, the initialization is done above the for loop. So instead of doing inside the for loop, it is done above the for loop. So initialization is done previously. Right? So now initialization segment is optional. In the for loop I am not specifying the initialization. So I am just leaving the initialization part empty. And I am giving semicolon. Semicolon is must. Semicolon is must. Because initialization is done before itself. So I am leaving that part in an optional manner. Then see here, after that I am checking the condition. Checking the test expression. I less than or equal to n. I less than or equal to n. Then after that you see here also the update expression is left out. The update expression is optional. Instead of the update expression, it is given inside the body of the loop. The update expression is given inside the body of the loop. So initialization is done before the for loop. Then update expression is done inside the body of the loop. The update expression is done inside the body of the loop. It is considered as one statement. Now you see here, you can see here the body of the loop contains sum plus equal to I. Sum plus equal to I. Then plus plus I. So everything is given there. So now how it work? How this particular segment will work? So first of all, I value is initialized to 1. I value is initialized to 1. I can go for the working. So let us see the working of the for loop. Working of for loop. So I can show you in a bigger size. So working of for loop. right? Working of for loop. So first of all, I value is initialized as 1. Now it checks the condition I less than or equal to n. So before going for n, we want to know what is mean by n. So let us take n value as 5, then some value as 0. N value as 5 and then some value as 0. So now you see this I less than or equal to n means 1 less than or equal to 5. 1 less than or equal to 5. Whether condition is true or false, the condition becomes true. So whenever the condition becomes true, what is the segment? Sum plus equal to I. Sum plus equal to I. Sum plus equal to I means sum equal to sum plus I. That is the meaning. Sum plus equal to I means that is called shorthand assignment operator. Plus equal to is the shorthand assignment operator. So we are giving sum is equal to sum plus I. This line is explained in this manner. Sum is equal to sum plus I. It is given as sum plus equal to I. In the program it is given like that. Actual explanation is this. Now sum equal to sum plus I means now what will happen? So already sum value is 0. So 0 plus I value is 1. So automatically sum becomes 1. Can you understand, students? First of all, we are giving the n value as 5. Then we are already assigned sum is equal to 0. And then before the for loop we have initialized I equal to 1. Then I less than or equal to n. That is the condition. So when it checks the condition 1 less than or equal to 5, condition becomes true. When the condition becomes true, then automatically it goes for the body of the loop. What is the body of the loop? Sum plus equal to I and then plus plus I. So first of all, sum is equal to sum plus I. That is, sum is already 0, I value is 1. So 0 plus 1, it becomes 1. Now I value is incremented. Plus plus I. Plus plus I means already I value is 1. So I becomes I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1. So automatically I becomes 1 plus 1. So I becomes 2. Can you understand, students? Plus plus I. What is mean by plus plus I? What is mean by plus plus I? Plus plus I means I equal to I plus 1. So I equal to I plus 1 means, then what will happen? I equal to I plus 1 means I value is already 1. So 1 plus 1, automatically I becomes 2. Can you understand, students? I becomes 2. Now you see here, next again the condition is checked. So I less than or equal to n. I less than or equal to n. Now value becomes 2. I value becomes 2. 2 means condition becomes true. True means again comes here sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum equal to sum plus I means automatically sum value is already 1. Sum value is already 1. Sum. So I is 2. So 1 plus 2, sum becomes 3. Sum value becomes 3. Now again plus plus I. So plus plus I means again I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1. So already I value is 2. So 2 plus 1, automatically I becomes 3. Now again checking the condition I less than or equal to n. I less than or equal to n. So 3 less than or equal to 5. I value becomes 3 less than or equal to 5. Can you see, students? You can see this, right? 3 less than or equal to 5. So 3 less than or equal to 5 means condition becomes true. Condition becomes true means again gets inside sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So sum is equal to sum plus I means sum is equal to already sum value is 3. Here you can see what is the value of sum. Sum value is 3. First time it becomes sum is equal to 1. So here sum is 1. 1 plus 2 it becomes 3. Now sum value is equal to sum plus I. Sum is already 3. I is also 3. So automatically sum becomes 6. Can you understand, students? Some value becomes 6. So some value becomes 6. Now again goes to checking the condition, that is before checking the condition I value is incremented. I value is incremented. So I equal to I plus 1. I plus 1 means I value is already, it's 3. 3 plus 1. So I becomes 4. I becomes 4. Then again I less than or equal to, I less than or equal to n. So 4 less than or equal to 5. Condition is true or false? Condition becomes true. Again after checking the condition, body of the loop, so sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So sum is equal to, already sum value is 6, I value is 4. So 6 plus 4, sum value becomes 10. Sum value becomes 10. Again I is incremented, plus I. So I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1 means already I value is 4. So 4 plus 1, I value becomes 5. Then again checking the condition, I less than or equal to n. I less than or equal to n. 5 less than or equal to 5. Condition becomes true. So after condition is true, again sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So now sum value is already 10. You can see here sum value is already 10. Now I value is 5. So 10 plus 5, it automatically becomes 15. Sum value becomes 15. Can you understand, students? Sum value becomes 15. Again plus I. Plus I means I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1. Already I value is 5. So 5 plus 1, I becomes 6. Now again checking the condition, I less than or equal to n. I less than or equal to n. 6 less than or equal to 5. Condition becomes false. Can you understand, students? So here the condition becomes false. So when the condition becomes false, it comes out of the for loop. So now it prints C out the sum of 1 to 10. Sum of 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is, n value is 5. So sum of 1 to 5 is, what is the sum value? 15. You just add 1 to 3. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4, 10. 10 plus 5, 15. So that is the sum of 1 to 5 numbers. So we get the result as sum of 1 to 5 is 15. Sum of 1 to 5 is 15. Can you understand, students? You can see this program in a practical manner. So let's see this in a practical manner, then you can understand in a clear manner. So let's see. Open the Dev C++ using the start menu. So click on Dev C++. After that, Control plus N, Control plus V, pasting the program. So save the program, Control plus S. So this is variations of for loop. Variations of for loop. Press enter key. F9 is for compile. Then F10 is for execution. So it asks me the number. When I press 5, when I type the value as 5, it shows sum of 1 to 5 is 15. So here you can see in this program the initialization is optional, as well as the update expression is also optional. The initialization is done before the for loop, and then the updation is done inside the body of the loop, inside the for loop. So that is the variation we have discussed in this video. Can you understand, students? So from this you can understand that inside the for loop we can leave the initialization and update expression in an optional manner. Right. Now you can see enter the value of 5. So the value of sum of 1 to 5 is 15. So whatever the value you want you can give. So you can find out the sum of 10 numbers and then sum of 100 numbers. Right? Any one of you can see this video and then reply to your subject teacher So what is the sum of 1 to 100 numbers? Can you understand, students? Any one of you, any one or all the students, you can find out the sum of 1 to 100 numbers and then you can say the result to your subject teacher. Let us see who are all just answering this question, right? Now I am going to explain the another thing regarding the coding. In the above code, the update expression is not given, but a semicolon is necessary before the update expression. So that is what I told. The initialization and updation is optional. Not only initialization and updation, all the three statements are optional. But in this program, in the above program, we have done, that is initialization and updation is done as an optional one. They have not yet given in the for loop. The initialization expression and update expression are skipped. So instead of that, they have given only the semicolon. Semicolon is very, very essential, right? If you are giving the expressions as optional. In the above code, neither the explanation nor the update expression is given in the for loop. I think you might have understood this. The initialization is done above the for loop. Update the expression is done inside the for loop. If both or any one of the expression are absent, then the control is transferred to the conditional part. So if both or any one of the expression is absent, then automatically what will happen? The control is transferred to the conditional part, that is test expression, right? Right. Now you can see the next concept called infinite loop. What is mean by infinite loop? So you might have studied in mathematics, the numbers are infinite. The numbers are infinite. You can say that there are n numbers are there. We always used to say that there are n numbers are there. It is infinity. It will be going on. Like that we used to say. Like that, a loop can also be changed as infinite loop. When the loop will be changed as infinite loop, it will be going on executing. Then that loop is called as infinite loop. How? Let us see that. An infinite loop will be formed if the test expression is absent in a for loop. So whenever the for loop does not contains the test expression, then that loop is called infinite loop. Can you understand, students? Whenever we are not giving the test expression, whenever we are not giving the condition in the for loop, then that particular loop is called infinite loop. You can see this example. Here the test expression is skipped. So now what is happening here? Initialization is done. Then they are giving the update expression also, but condition is not yet given. Instead of that, they have skipped the condition. They have skipped the test expression, but they have given the body of the loop. The body of the loop is given. So now what will happen? First of all, the initialization will be done. After initialization, it checks for condition. There is no condition. So automatically the body of the loop is executed. Can you understand, students? Initialization is done. After that, checks for condition. There is no condition. There is no condition means simply execute the body of the loop. After executing the body of the loop, again updation is done. Control variable is incremented to 1. Then again checks for condition, no condition. So body of the loop. Again incremented, I value is incremented to 2. Then again body of the loop. Then again I value is incremented to 3. So I value will be going on incrementing, and then the body of the loop is executed again and again. So the body of the loop is executed or displayed. The text will be displayed. The text welcome will be displayed in an infinite manner. The text welcome will be displayed in an infinite manner. Now I can show you this infinite loop in a program, in a practical manner. Now you see here, I am going to display the infinite loop. So directly I am using for loop int I is equal to 0, or else initialization is done here, declaration I am doing separately, int I is equal to 0, then again leaving space, condition is not yet given, plus I. Now you see here I am going to print welcome. I am going to print welcome. Then when I save the program, after completing the program, save the program, control plus S, infinite loop. So when I press F9, there will be no error. After that, when I press F10, here you can see the screen is printing welcome in a continuous manner. Can you see, students? The text is printing, the text welcome is printed in an infinite manner. I think you can see all these things. The word welcome is printed again and again. Can you understand, students? So this is called infinite loop. Whenever the test expression is absent, the text will be going on printing in a repeated manner, in an infinity manner. Can you understand, students? Right. Now we can see the next concept, that is, see here the same thing they have given. Similarly, the following for loop also forms the infinite loop. Following for means all the three expressions are skipped. All the three expressions are skipped. Here there is no initialization, no condition, no updation. See here, let us see the same program. So no updation, no initialization. So again I am saving the program. When I press F9, compilation, then see F10. So same thing is repeated. If I does not give the test expression, infinite loop. If the test expression is absent, then that is infinite loop. If I am not at all giving any expression, that is no initialization, no condition, no updation, then it forms a infinite loop. In the previous video we discussed it. In the for loop, all the three statements are optional. That is initialization, condition and updation are optional. In the last video we discussed. So the same thing here we have given. The three parts are given in an optional manner. So when the three parts are not yet given, then it forms infinite loop. Can you understand, students? Whenever we are skipping the initialization, condition and updation, it forms an infinite loop. Right. Now let us see the next concept called empty loop. What is mean by empty loop? Empty loop means a loop that has no statement in its body. A loop that does not has any statement, that has no statement, then it is called as empty loop. So see this, whenever the for loop is given with initialization, condition and then updation, in that for loop itself we are using the null statement. Null statement means we are giving semicolon for the for loop. The for loop should not contain semicolon. Whenever the for loop contains semicolon at the last after the parenthesis, if we give semicolon, then that is called a null statement. Then it forms empty loop. In the above code, the for loop contains a null statement. So this is called an empty loop. In the above code, the for loop contains a null statement. So it forms an empty loop. Can you understand, students? What is mean by empty loop? Empty loop means a loop that has no statement, that has no body of the loop, then that is called a empty loop. In simple way, how can I convert the for loop in an empty loop means I want to give the semicolon at the end of the for. If I give semicolon, then it changes to null statement. Then the no statement will be executed. then it forms the empty loop. Can you understand, students? See here, similarly the following for loop also forms an empty loop. So I am giving some statement. I have given some statement. The body of the for loop is given, but it is not executed. Why? The body of the for loop is not executed because a semicolon is given after the for loop. Here you can see the body of the loop is given, but I have given the semicolon at the end of the for loop. So automatically the body of the loop is not executed. This statement is not executed. We are Indians are not executed. See here they are given in the above code the body of the for loop enclosed in braces. The body of the for loop enclosed in braces is not executed because a semicolon is given after the for loop. A semicolon is given after the for loop. Can you understand, students? Right. Now you see here in the third variation is the next variation is declaring a variable in the for loop. See the for loop, what is the syntax for loop is initialization, condition and then updation. That is what we discussed in the previous videos. So here they are saying that the C++ variables can also be declared within a for loop. In C++, the variables can also be declared inside the for loop. So how the variables can be declared inside the for loop? In the initialization part. In the initialization part, we can declare the variables. In the initialization part itself, we can declare the variable int I equal to 0. See, initialization means we want to say that we can say that declaration come assignment. Initialization means declaration come assignment. So both the statements can be given together. Int I equal to 0, int a equal to 4. So that is what we used to call it as initialization. So the declaration and assignment statement are done together. Declaration and assignment statement are done together. See here. Here the variable I is declared. At the same time the value of I is also assigned here. Int I equal to 0. So a variable declared inside the main function. A variable declared inside the main function can be accessed anywhere inside the main function. So that variable can be accessed throughout the program. Whenever we declare the variable inside the main function, that variable is accessed throughout the program. But whenever a variable is declared inside the for loop, whenever a variable is declared inside the for loop, that variable cannot be accessed outside the for loop. That variable cannot be accessed outside the for loop. Can you understand, students? See here in the printing statement they have given cout the variable I cannot be accessed here. The variable sum can be accessed here. That means the variable I cannot be accessed outside the for loop. The variable I cannot be accessed outside the for loop. But the variable sum is accessible outside the for loop also. Because it is declared here inside the main function it is declared. Inside the main function it is declared. But I is declared inside the for loop. But I is declared inside the for loop. Can you understand, students? Right. I think you might have understood this video. So let's end the class. So thank you, students.